The other day, we talked about how the Chinese New Year is actually the season for arranged marriages. Men who return to their hometowns go through multiple arranged meetings with the help of a matchmaker. However, because of the overall population imbalance, the process can end up costing several months' salary and gifts for the matchmaker and setting up the meetings. In such an environment, women are in a very advantageous position, allowing them to choose. You might think that in modern China, women are highly valued, but in reality, China is a deeply patriarchal society. Despite the long-standing acknowledgement of the male surplus, the preference for male children persists, and there's still a practice of trying to ensure the birth of boys. This time, I'd like to introduce some concrete examples. Incidentally, China is generally a patriarchal society, but there are regional differences. Northeast China is extremely patriarchal, while in Shanghai, there's almost no such distinction. Girls are treated nearly the same as boys. However, the situation in Shanghai is quite exceptional when viewed against the backdrop of the whole country. Since many discussions about China and Japan focus on Shanghai, the severe realities of the rest of China are not well known here. However, I want to show you that this is how most of China is. First, please take a look at this article. The title of this article is about a wife being pressured into divorce by her husband's family because she gave birth to a girl. In Japan, it's often said that Chinese people value their families, but that's not entirely accurate. In most Chinese households, boys are overwhelmingly favored over girls. Moreover, there's enormous pressure on the wife to give birth to a boy. When a wife gets pregnant, she's doted on and given good food and supplements by her husband's family until the child is born. But if the child is a girl, there's pressure for the next one to be a boy. This leads to various tragedies across China. According to this article, the wife was urged to divorce because her child was a girl. From a Japanese perspective, one might think she should divorce such people, but in China, this is somewhat common. There's a general perception in China, especially in the Northeast, that patriarchal attitudes are very strong, particularly in rural areas where women aren't treated as equals even within the family. However, this isn't just limited to Northeast China, it's prevalent from north to south. In urban areas, it's less noticeable because migrant workers leave their families behind, but in rural areas where everyone lives close with relatives, not having a son is a significant pressure. Now, please look at this next article. It's about an event in Shandong province. The title translation goes something like, "Patriarchy is this scary," where a woman pregnant 9 times in 8 years finally gave birth to a boy, but by then, the mother was no longer alive. This story goes back to 2016 in Shandong province. A 31-year-old woman committed suicide by jumping off a building. She had given birth to 3 girls, and the pressure to produce a boy was immense. Her husband's family, especially the mother-in-law, took her to a small clinic for an ultrasound to determine the sex of the 4th child. Although this practice is presumably banned, it was rampant in China during the one-child policy era. If the baby was a girl, there would be an abortion. This practice distorted the gender ratio in China. In this case, after confirming the 4th child was also a girl, she was forced to abort. She went through this repeatedly, and after 8 pregnancies, she committed suicide. However, the child in her womb at that time was a boy who survived. This illustrates how family pressure can lead to such tragedies. Despite the claim that Chinese people value family, these kinds of situations are common across China. The gender imbalance in China is due to these patriarchal customs, combined with the one-child policy of the Communist Party. Even if policies change, the underlying values and societal norms persist, leading to continued pressure for sons. This also leads to other issues like illegal sex determination and abortions, which are banned but still practiced. Lastly, let's look at this story from Guizhou province, known for its poverty. A woman there gave birth to 7 children over 8 years, all broadcasted on the internet. Despite their poverty, she was criticized for having too many children. However, the reality is that the first 6 were girls, suggesting she was under pressure to keep having children until she had a son. This links patriarchal attitudes with poverty issues in rural China, perpetuating a cycle where providing education for all children becomes challenging. These cultural values are deeply rooted, and mere policy changes or propaganda against patriarchy won't change them overnight. Therefore, when considering marriage with someone from China, even if they seem affluent, one should think about their cultural background and beliefs. That's it for today's video. See you in the next one.